Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, I got a fun bonus episode for you guys this evening. That is because a developer going by the name of Maxine Thomas DeLorne has remade the first parts of Metal Gear Solid as a PC game. And to say it's night and day improved graphically and a very fun vibe would be an understatement. But also this is brand new, it is very early, and for as much impressiveness as you're going to see here in the visuals and Remake, definitely has a lot of fun janky bugs, which are definitely entertaining at least to me. Because the reality of this is, it is a first draft, and it definitely is something I would love to see the developer continue along with, because I do think there is a universe in which you could have a complete remake of the original Metal Gear Solid for modern audiences on modern PCs and absolutely be successful with it. And I would say, at least in the cutscenes here, we are actually controlling Snake. Things are 10 out of 10 amazing. The graphics, the presentation, everything else are just excelling at feeling both like something you've seen before and something you've never seen. And that really is the fun part about remaking something like an iconic game from the PlayStation 1. Basically, everyone has played Metal Gear Solid. You have that memory in your head as to what it was like, so you're going to remember this cutscene, but in your imagination, you're going to be thinking about the wobbly polygons and absolutely pixelated face of Snake that you got in the PlayStation 1 version, because dude was made out of like 4 polygons on his face with some of the chunkiest and biggest pixels you're going to see on something like PlayStation 1. But here in this remake demo, it is only a few components of the game. You're going to see a Snake in an overall environment that are absolutely mind-blowing, and if the gameplay can get up to the same level as the overall presentation, then I think we have a winning formula on our hands. Before getting much further involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. Now, once you actually get into the gameplay, there's definitely some bugs in this one. Some of them can be a little bit annoying, and some of them are downright hilarious, and I hope they're kept in, at least as options in the future. Because as we go into Crouch here, this is an iconic initial area from something like the original Metal Gear Solid, but completely reimagined. And I know we got Twin Snakes as well, but this thing is just for a kind of modern lens in 2026, and I will say, from the graphics to the models to the textures, absolutely outstanding. Although Snake definitely has a propensity to clip into some of the geometry, and sometimes he will get stuck. But I will say the number one most successful thing, outside of the fact that this looks so much better as far as the graphical quality is concerned, is the developer's ability to color match all the different colorways and color temperatures within Metal Gear Solid. Because of course we have real-time lighting, we have real-time shadows, but the overall vibe and feel of this initial area is exactly what I would expect it to look like if it was remade by any other company. Because you don't want to change the vibes, you don't want to change the thematic intent that developers and artists at Konami made back in the day, and this is definitely 100% excelling at that. Though I will say getting the elevator to trigger can every once in a while be a little bit strange, and you'll see what happens when that actually goes on. You don't want to download this one and expect to have a perfect experience, because that is not what you're getting here. This is still a demo, and I don't know what happened to dude here, but he has maybe the smallest corseted waist of anyone I have ever seen. And for some reason, that triggered the elevator to come down, but last time it did not. A lot of times you'll hear that you actually get a request for backup from the people you're trying to sneak by, and that can trigger the elevator, but not every single time. And of course, I just tried to bum rush on, ended up dead, and had to restart the level. But it isn't just this first area and the first level of Metal Gear Solid. You also have the VR missions included as well, at least a few of them, and I would say this looks absolutely outstanding here in a high resolution. This thing will go up to 4K. I did this at 1920 by 1080 just for the ease of YouTube capture, and it really is impressive. The control scheme, I would say, feels a little bit like PlayStation 1, and that is to say if you grew up with it, you're going to be totally fine with it. If you didn't, it might take a few seconds. But you can play this one with mouse and keyboard as well as controller. I did test both and both work perfectly fine, but for me, mouse and keyboard definitely took the cake as far as having that mouse aiming and the overall mouse view versus actually having a controller in my hand. But the good thing is you get both options, so whatever works for you is going to be the one you get to enjoy. Let's do the first soundtrack sample, because I would say an audio design here as well, and this port absolutely excels, and it really is something I want to hear and see a lot more of in the future. So go ahead and listen for 45 seconds, and I'll be right back with some more Snake.
Psycho Mantis with his powerful psychic abilities. Sniper Wolf, the beautiful and deadly sharpshooter. Decoy Octopus, master of disguise. Vulcan Raven, giant and shaman. And Revolver Ocelot, specialist in interrogation and a formidable gunfighter. And finally, in charge of them, Foxhound Squad Leader, Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake.
The man with the same code name as you. The nuclear weapons disposal facility covers the whole island. I'll instruct you by codec after you reach your target.
Anyone going with me?
As usual, this is a one-man infiltration mission.
Weapons and equipment OSP?
Yes, this is a top-secret black op. Don't expect any official support.
So the sound design here is extremely effective of being Metal Gear Solid. The visual presentation and cutscenes is also doing an amazing job at giving you the vibes of Metal Gear Solid, but in 2026 graphical quality. The only thing that needs to catch up, and again, this is just a demo, so it's to be expected, would be the gameplay and a little bit of the bugginess around the actual build. But I'm sure that can be improved upon, and I know that is the plan. And I would say, dude there with his eagle tattoo on his head, probably something developers wouldn't put in a game in 2026, but in the 90s, totally fine with most people, because those were always the villains, at least for most games, and they definitely are coming back as a villain, I'm sure, in gaming at some point in time. Hopefully we get a new Wolfenstein game soon. That's what I would love to see, or Wolfenstein. No matter how I say it, someone always says to say it differently. But not getting too far off track, these cutscenes here, the modeling of the particles with the snow coming down, that absolutely looks amazing, and that really is this game, or at least this game's remake's strongest suit. The presentation, the vibe is Metal Gear Solid through and through, and it really is the type of remake we wish somebody like Konami would give us in 2026 or beyond. But at least they're bringing out Metal Gear Solid 4 again. Finally, we're moving it from being locked to PlayStation 3, because I would still say that is personally my favorite Metal Gear Solid game of all time, even if it drove Mrs. Esoterica nuts, because I would be playing it and she would say, "We want to go outside and do something." I'd be like, as soon as this cutscene is over, and of course that would take like 45 minutes to an hour at that point in time. But you'll see here, we're going to try to get back on the elevator, and you're going to see some more really fun glitches. But I'm just leaving the camera here in Snake Crouch because I'm waiting for the characters to move into position, and also just take a look at how that light shining off the ground there from the corner, and how that enemy in the background even kind of gets a shadow going on from those lights on the wall. If they can make the gameplay match the visuals here, there is an absolutely winning formula, and I'm sure that isn't going to be an easy task, but definitely accomplishable one. And why there the elevator decided to activate again, not quite sure. The trigger on this one can be absolutely sensitive, absolutely weird, not quite sure what it wants to do. And dude there again, the minute he starts to turn, his entire torso turns into some sort of horror creature, making Metal Gear Solid feel more like a horror game than actually an action stealth game. And now we have the elevator coming down, we have full health, and we can go ahead and run to the elevator and continue along the path. Except because I crouched too close to this little area here with this tank, I am now stuck in the wall. No matter what I do, I cannot get out whatsoever. And again, I'm not kind of saying that this is a bad experience. It is a work in progress experience, and these things are to be expected, and the developer always said it is going to be buggy. But it is definitely a vibe, definitely something worth checking out, and something I want to see 100% finished, because I want to play Metal Gear Solid in this world, in this environment, just with everything actually included, and some better gameplay. But one more soundtrack sample, because again, that's straight 10 out of 10, and I'll be right back with just a little bit more.
I'm going to swat down a couple of bothersome flies.
So yeah, it's a demo for a full remake of Metal Gear Solid on PC, going from PlayStation 1 aesthetics to modern PC aesthetics, and I think it definitely is effective at both the look and the sound, and overall the feel of what Metal Gear Solid would look like if a really good developer took on the project. The only thing that needs to catch up is the fact that it can be buggy, but again, that is to be expected. It is just a demo. If you're wondering why the mouse cursor is on the screen, for some reason it would pop up every once in a while, even with the window being persistent and full screen. So I apologize for that. I hate when the mouse shows up on a to capture, but in this instance it did. Now, if you want to play this one, I left a link to the developer's YouTube page where they have linked the build themselves. So go over there, give them a like, give them a subscription, maybe even a comment that said VGE sent me. Because it might not be perfect, it might not be complete, but it's absolutely a vibe and really goes to show that these games are still incredible and that they were remade in modern graphics. We'll be having a ton of fun with them. Because modern gaming definitely is a little bit boring at this point in time, at least to me personally, so let's start remaking some classics for modern systems. But I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.